I want to do some audience polling. What would you like to do? Why are you here? What would you like to get out of Google Apps and D2L or Moodle? What do you see as the advantages that you want to harness? What end goals do you have?
I use both of them. I use them separate. You said there was a way of linking them in there.
All right. So how do you use Google Docs right now? Or the different apps?
For a lot of different ways. We use them for, within the classroom, we use them for sign-up sheets, for making groups, for something like a group discussion, or kind of a wiki type.
Okay. So sign-up sheets, I heard. You send out a link and you have people sign up for presentations and such. The wiki style, where they can just collaboratively add to a page. All right, awesome. And what was the third one? Okay. Anyone else? Thoughts on how they use them?
So I don't use them.
Okay.
But my students do. And so I'm just here to see how you could use them.
Okay. Do you know how any of them use them?
They do collective observations on analysts. So there'll be like 30 people working together, pooling observations. They make PowerPoint presentations. They do discussions amongst themselves.
Like test study type things, or?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Or we have various topics that are being covered in class, and they'll sometimes run discussions amongst themselves.
So they do that in Google Docs instead of or on Hangouts instead of in the discussion forum.
Yep.
Interesting.
They don't use anything from the regular UW side.
Okay.
I saw an interesting example of that
Yeah.
about a month or so ago, where students were color coding their responses so they could keep track of, this was my comment, all in one Google Doc, so they track.
And that color coding was one of the ways that I remember early on in Google Docs. How many of you have used Google Docs like for years now? And have you watched how it's changed tremendously? And it used to be this kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Someday I hope this is good, to like, wow. Now I use it. How many of you use it instead of Word? Not yet? Not yet. It's gotten to the point where, because it's always online, I don't use Word at all anymore. And when I almost get annoyed when people send me Word documents. I'm like, oh, I have to translate this.
Offline.
What's that?
You can also use it offline.
And you can use it offline, yeah. Any other ways that people use it or want to use it or have ideas about using it? Dan?
You know, also a journaling assignment that they do over the course of a week where they post, there's a framework they have to fill in.
Okay. I love that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
And then we also use it for things like equipment sign up in our program.
Okay. So not just sign up for presentations, but sign up for equipment as well?
Yeah, but that's within the staff. Within the staff, we use it for reserving equipment, like we used to use it for.
Excellent.
We had a horrible system with WizCal and then with Google spreadsheets.
Does anyone use it to have their, create the syllabus in it or anything in D2L, and then do you upload that to D2L?
I put a link in because the schedule, because sometimes I might want to tweak it and I didn't want to resend it, so that way I link it and embed it. I actually embed it in that D2L page.
Excellent.
And then they can see a live version of it.
Yep, and that actually reminds me, I want to open up this other window right now. Is that 14 or is it 13? Well, I did it this year too, so that'll work. This is good. I'm going to get to revisit a class from years ago. Yeah, so that last minute tweaking, this is probably where I think for instructors, there's a lot of advantages of Google collaborative docs and such for advantages for the students. But as far as the instructors are concerned, this is probably the number one, far and away the best opportunity or the best time saver for instructors. And that is the, so just putting the course schedule in the syllabus directly as live links to Google Docs. And the course schedule is the one that's the biggest for me, because still within the UW approved D2L place, I've got a live document. Because I'm logged in right now, all of the editing things are still there. So I don't even have to go into a new document or anything to be able to start working in this. I can make changes like right now in the middle of class. Oh, we're starting class. Here, let's just change this real quick. And I can do live editing in D2L on a Google Doc. And I don't have to upload a new document, a new Word document, find it on my desk. Oh, it's on my work computer instead of my home computer, and I'm at home, or it's at my home computer, not my work computer. Because it's on Google Docs, I can make changes immediately. And so if we don't get all the way through one of the assignments or the activities that we did in class, I can very quickly, right after class, make changes. And then when they come next week prepared to, we can make some changes there, and they'll be updated. It's all up to date. That is far and away the easiest, best use of it. I also, in this course document, because it's an electronic text, basically, I have links to, it's not a hard copy where I'm like, go to the library or go to the e-reserves and find this or find that. I can just click on the details here, open up another Google Doc. It can open up a course web page. I can have the PDFs here. I can have all kinds of things that I can make changes immediately on. And this week for the students, it's easy because all they have to do is click on the course schedule, see where the assignments are, and they're up to date with what everything is.
Adding notes to the right of your schedule there, I see.
So for the students, in the sharing settings, and this is all in the options here, I think, or last week's in Google Docs, I set it so that the students can comment, or anyone with the UW, anyone with the link can comment on it. And that way, if they're confused about something in the assignment or what to do, they can just add a comment to it. So they won't see all of these things. All they'll see is the insert comment as an option. If they do that, other students can say, oh, I have the same question, and they can comment or reply in the comment, and I get an email there about that. So I can make those changes to the live text and address exactly where in syllabus or course schedule they're having issues with. So it's not about, oh, about that assignment for next week. Then I have to respond. And which assignment were you talking about? This way it'll be, bullet point 2 about that assignment. I have a question about it.
Where does that show up?
That would show up all here. So in D2L. And I'm very transparent about my thoughts behind it as well. So if I have some more information that I want to give them, I'm trying to think of, let's look at this one. Okay, so this note, for example. I left a note for the students here about what read the Wisconsin Experience site in PDF means. So I've got actually more instructions on the side as a comment to them, so that they, it's not taking up extra space in my table here. So
log into Google Docs to
they do not,
any interactions?
because the way that I have the sharing set up is anybody with the link can access it or can comment on it. Now, what that means is that potentially they could share that link with somebody via an email, and anybody in the world could potentially comment on that. I'm open to people adding swear words here, and it would be, a swear word from anonymous cheetah or whoever, which I just learned actually that if you set the document sharing to So everybody, you know that everybody with UW NetID has a Google account, and you log into that account through the NetID process, authentication process. What that does, and I've actually not tested this, I just heard about this last week. When they click on it, because they're authenticated through their NetID, they show up as Catherine Stevens at wisc.edu. So they are no longer anonymous cheetah, they are Catherine Stevens. So that is kind of a little benefit that I didn't fully realize. So if you share it with anybody with a UW ID can access it, that's one way to get around that.
So it's still true that anyone that wants to use UW Google Apps needs to activate their account, correct?
If you want to use Google Plus, anyone with a NetID already can, without doing any activation, can get to their Google Drive. If they want to set up their Google Plus profile, so instead of just seeing john.martin@wisc.edu, you want to see John Martin's nice face, and I want to add all of that stuff in there, then I have to activate that Google Plus account.
Because that has been a little problematic in the past because of other Google accounts, or people are like, why do I have to do this?
Yep.
How do I do it?
It's still problematic. I just dealt with it for 45 minutes before I came here.
I mean, that's to respond to like the things on that list that I was thinking about. You guys are like applied in your goals.
Yeah.
And I'm here to sort of be more skeptical.
Good.
And I'm responsible for the courses, and I'm the assistant director for the Master of Science and Biotech program. So we have graduate students, working professionals of all different ages. Totally different ball of wax than undergraduates.
It's a residential, yeah.
And our goal in the program is to make things as simple and easy to access so that their attention can focus on all the stuff that they have to do.
Right.
Not figure out how to log into a Google, an activated account.
Mm-hmm.
I find from outside looking in, I find the Google Apps integration or introduction to campus to be like terribly confusing, because there's no like welcome to the UW Google Apps.
Right.
This is the way you can get to where you want to go.
Right.
This is what you have to do to get started. This is, that's why I'm sort of curious, following your line of reasoning about, do they have to log in? How do they log in? Even the things I've done with it, I already have an active Google account that, I'm really busy.
Your personal one.
With my personal life.
Yep.
And just logging in and switching back and forth and making sure that I'm not adding something that's personal versus private or school related. If it's confusing for me, I'm just, and I'm an IT manager by trade, I'm assuming it's going to be difficult for our students, so I'm really cautious about adding their complexity.
I'm remembering an example of a class. We spent 15 minutes introducing it, describing how to go in and activate it, answering questions about, I've already got a Google account. I think that helps.
Well, and in some ways, that the first time that they use Desire to Learn, you kind of have to go through that process with them, unless they're sophomores or juniors and they've already gone through the rigmarole once or twice. It's oftentimes there's that same sort of, you go through the syllabus, you go through the how do you access the course website, how do you, that wayfinding thing. Are you getting notes on this, the collaborative notes?
Minimal.
Minimal? Okay. Can you make a little note, or whoever, about the central place to log in? Because I'm on the UW Google Apps team, and they're questioning, what would be useful for this?
There used to be a link at the top of the homepage for my web space, which is gone and could now be boxed in Google.
Yeah, the MyUW, or
It isn't. So when I tell people to get to it, I still have to tell them, go on Google and Google with Google Apps, and then they get a link and another link, and they eventually get to it. But there is nothing at the top.
The Google search engine also goes faster than anything.
Yeah, we usually go.
But it's, if you're on that thing, but if you're on MoneyUW, but that's not most people, so
Okay.
if you're on the WizW homepage.
so would it be nice on the
UW, but there's no Google Apps.
Learn at UW page? Or that course dashboard?
No, if you go just WizW.
There's a small menu across the top.
I got it.
Yeah. Right where it says MyUW, next to it there used to be my web space.
Oh, yeah.
And under that, when that went away, I expected that Box would take its place, and it didn't, and also Google Apps or Google Docs would take its place. But so to actually find it now from there, if you don't go to my UW, you have to go to the search
You
engine.
do the search and you type in UW or Google Apps or whatever.
The first or the second link, depending on who's, which
Yeah.
has been clicked on what. And then there's the problem that if you invite someone to a Google app or a Google Doc before they've activated their account, then they cannot access that document even after they've activated their account unless you resend the link to them again.
Oh my gosh.
I've just dealt with that right before I came in again.
Well, and
it's
there's
the same for 3 years.
You know, with respect to that, like our student orientation, we sit down and one of the things I've sometimes been challenged by is every year discovering what students who register and activate their ID need to do to get integrated into all the systems that we use. For instance, Box, which was my web space, which is one's DocuShare. Just getting their emails. Are you sure you're getting your emails? I don't see you in this in the user library. We're trying to add people. Hello, Kathy Riley. It's me again. And finding out what happened this year from last year. And I always thought that the active services button, which was like the big push me now button in your modified, like that doesn't necessarily activate all of your services now. It's effective for some base services, but it would be nice, if you're going to say, oh, we're going to adopt Google Docs, that when you do something that seems, presumably what you need to do,
Yeah.
That it does it.
But it doesn't right now is what I'm hearing.
When people try to activate it, then if they already have Gmail, then it won't let them go straight to it.
You have to.
And you have to explain, I'm trying to do this with people who don't speak English as a first language, and a revolving network of colleagues, and every year we have 50 colleagues that I manage for this. And I spend 30 to 60 minutes a week sorting out Google Docs problems.
Okay.
And it's the same problem of the Gmail account. And then you show them you have to add a different account. Or I just say, look, if you use Firefox, go to Chrome or go to Safari, and then you won't have that problem. But that's a real, a
workaround, yeah, that's clumsy.
It's the only service that's like this. All the other services are pretty streamlined. You go to Learn UW, you go into it, it opens up, there's Google Doc blocks at this one point. If you have a Gmail account, which is 99% of people.
Right. And
I was hoping what you were going to show us today would say, but see, we fixed that.
so, okay, on your sheet, at the very bottom of the sheet, you'll see two options. One of them is currently bothersome, and the next one is coming soon. So the good news, not on the activity sheet, that one, yeah. The good news is, good news with lots of caveats. As you probably, as I've just heard, steering this Titanic away from the iceberg is a slow and tedious and not always effective process. Just today, though, I heard some very good news that I wanted to have turned on before today, but it's still happening. And that is that there's Google integration in Desire to Learn. So does anyone use Piazza? So Piazza is one of those tools that is currently integrated in D2L. If you log in to UW D2, the Learn at UW, at the very top of the page here, let me see if I still have it on mine. I think I do. No, it's not there.
Well, that's what Google Apps is.
But Google Apps is, yeah.
It might be their communication button.
So what happens when you click on that Google Apps?
Yeah, so Piazza is already here. And hang on a second, let's jump down that rabbit hole. I want to do that too. But the Piazza Q&A, Piazza is a third party, totally not separate, and actually not even supported by UW-Madison, technically. I think I'm correct on that, right? But it's integrated within D2L. Lots of people are using it, and maybe someday it will become part. I mean, maybe it is part of it, the official thing. But they kind of came in through the back door through this integration, where D2L turned it on. And so now if you want to have your students use Piazza, if they click on that, they're already logged in, and they're already set. There is a Google Apps integration thing, not this one, but an actual behind the scenes switch that they can switch that connects immediately to the net authentication of the UW Google app thing. So if they're logged in to Learn at UW, and presumably, well, it's already turned on for Moodle, somebody told me yesterday. People can upload directly from Google Docs, and they don't have to re-log in because they're logged in here, and so they'll be logged into the net ID through this. So let's see what happens here.
Even if they didn't have an account to begin with?
I don't know.
That's where they're wrong.
That's where they get hung up.
Yeah, it flips into my, if I happen to have both UW and my own Google open, it tends to flip into my personal one. I want it to go this way, but.
I just clicked on that one. I have both of my accounts logged in different windows of the same browser, and I just clicked on that link and it took me to my Whisk one. So
All right, this looks like it goes directly to my Whisk one, which is, yeah. And I know that in this one, it's, oh, there's Whisk 2. Okay. But in this one, it's actually with my personal one regarding John. Curious, huh? All right, so I'm glad you guys are giving me this feedback, because one of the big issues with that I face is because I've been logged in since forever, I can't go test things new again without a whole rigmarole of extra, can I get a new account made? Well, why do you need a new? It just is really hard to do sometimes. So hearing back sort of from the front lines is really good. And it's one of the things that we don't hear. The Google Apps team, we should have some sort of give us feedback.
There is no obvious way to give feedback on it either.
Yeah.
You're just in Google's site. It's not like there's any front end to it within the UW page.
So we should build that too.
Yeah.
That goes directly to the Google Apps
There's
team.
an obvious link to click to it, and on there could be a get feedback, because I could,
You'd be on it all the time.
Examples of the instructions that I post out to people that mostly help people to get it.
It'd be nice to download, I catch create it myself too, it'd be very nice, simple directions. So this is what happens if you have Gmail or blah, blah. 1, 2, 3, here we go, because we have to create that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Are there not, I'm just going to check right now, but when I did what you were saying, go to the Whisk homepage and type in Google Apps, the second link, or one of you saying that, the second link was to the KB, the knowledge base, and it seemed like it had some, of course now it's going really slow since I want to talk about it. But there are some knowledge base documents about that. Do you ever direct your students to those? Are those documents helpful at all?
The knowledge, you guys can answer, but
They're not really specific enough
No.
for what you want them to do. So
And we haven't adopted it for production purposes. That's what we need to hear.
waiting to hear that it's all beautiful and integrated and
Light shining
the
with-
rainbow coming in through the window. Yeah.
But this is good too.
Well,
But a thing like that, you can just have open to anyone who has the link to view the schedule. You don't need them to.
and that's how I end up doing it. And because it's already within Learn at UW, I figure that the actual audience that's interested in my syllabus is going to be just the students here. And honestly, the reason that I set that up was because I didn't want to deal with I'd like to use my personal account. No, I want to use my net ID account. I let my students use whatever they want to use. But when it's shared anonymously, I still get a lot of anonymous cheetahs and such, which is generally okay.
can you go back to how you actually made that thing appear within what you had in terms of the book?
Yeah. So that's part of the hands-on thing that I think it's our second or third one. Thank you. Embedding Google Docs as course content. That it's a very easy thing to do. And I've also had it. We figured out how to put a whole Google Drive there. So when they click on a link, they will get to see all of the readings or papers or handouts that you want to give them within that drive. And again, that's much easier to, for me anyway, to move those around in Google Drive than it is to upload to D2L and download and get rid of the old one and put the new one in. As a news item, how about? So I want to create a news item. Click on that, headline, Google Doc embedded. And then in the content here, actually this is the trickier version. Let me do the other one first because I don't want to show you the hard thing first.
John, did you mention to everyone that we have an active teaching lab course in D2L?
Oh, we have an active teaching course in D2L, which is
all been added to.
this one here. So you can
the
click on this.
RSVP list and the sign list. So if you go in there, we've used it last semester. It's intended as a sandbox for today. And so there's some sample documents that John's done matching up with the things on the handout there, the activity sheet. So you're welcome to poke around in there and try to connect things. And
just so people know that I sort by semester to see things, the interface issues and whatnot. But if in the search window, you can just type in active teaching lab and it'll come up then.
Oh, nice.
If you undo this select semester.
I don't think it's associated with the semester, so.
Right, that's the only way I could really find it, whether I added to it or not. I didn't find it that way. It didn't show up in like a new course list or anything for me personally, but I found it by searching for it.
Okay, thanks. And you're Brian, right? You should be able to get in. You could get into it.
I was in already.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have been in the ongoing thing over here on the active teaching lab, if you have that tab.
You have a cool interface that I wish would come back. Yeah.
That one that I just closed?
Yeah, well, you saw your courses listed by semester.
Yeah, no, that's the new course dashboard that everybody should have access to, whether it's if you type it learn UW at wisc.edu, it should automatically go to the course dashboard.
Yeah, mine only goes back to the old one.
Yeah, you've got that course dashboard,
Yeah.
but you don't have anything on it.
No.
Warning, partial list of courses.
It says, yeah, this is.
Yours says partial list of courses too?
When you're, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with my settings, but mine is only a partial list too.
I have a lot of courses from a lot of years archived and whatnot. So I have to go to direct access and then drive down any of the desired learn.
Oh,
It's a pain.
My home.
that sounds like a pain.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it has to do with site administrators. Are you a site administrator?
I am
That's
affiliate admin.
And any affiliate man has this. So
Now that I have more control, I have less access.
exactly. Being an affiliate.
Less for you to screw up, right? All right, so the question, how do I do that? I will go to materials, I'll go to content, and get to the very familiar course content thing, right? I can click on new, and then this is the easy part. Just create a link.
Is this a custom link?
This is,
Do you,
it's not a, it's,
I don't use the content builder at all. I build all our sites offline
oh,
and link all of our content in manageable web pages.
okay.
That I do. I find this tedious and driving.
I agree.
So.
And this is the easy way to get around the tedium of the tedious
Right.
part.
You can do a custom link, say in like the navigation bar. You can create a custom link, and it's just creating a link. It's not an embedded link.
Yeah.
Is there? Well, I don't want to interrupt this process.
No, well, you just in the custom link, you would just put the link to the Google Doc.
Oh yeah, just to the window within.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
just make sure the Google Doc is shared with whoever you want it to be shared with, right? If it's private to you,
Right.
put all the links that you want, but it's not going to show up.
Right. Yeah, this is for people who still feel like they have to deal with the tedium of the interface.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the create a link. I'll just go to a Google Doc that I've got open right now. It's share it out with all kinds of people. anyone with the link can comment, so I'll just grab that. Go back into the title. It'll be Google Doc activity sheet. And then the URL. Boom. And create. And there it is.
Can you just show us what it looks like from the student's perspective?
Yeah. I'll just log out.
What does the UW side look like?
Yeah.
I think I can log out.
Are you wondering what it looks like, the UW student view, or the actual
What does the student see?
Well, so because I'm
It's probably not.
still the owner,
Oh, right. It's going to look the same.
it's going to look the same regardless. But let me actually sign out of that. Let's see if I can be signed out now. All right, so there. This now, wait a second. Interesting. Let me go back here and make, I wonder if that active, if the UW tools is set. Let me change my role here. Student, change role. All right, so it's not letting me actually sign out.
That's all right, I can do that.
But I have tested it before, and it only lets them. So if you see it right now,
You have a February 24th flyer that is up in active teaching lab.
Yes.
It's similar in appearance, which just as a caveat is interesting that I show up with my personal Google account logged into it.
To the worksheet within
The
the,
February 24th flyer, I mean, just in terms of how it IDs my Google account, it shows my personal.
so if you go to the UW tools at the top there,
I can't really do anything because I don't really have any.
within the flyer, take a look at it, it's really interesting, because it's like that document that's embedded and it's showing up as.
right, so that one is set up as view only, just as mine is. So I didn't, on that one, I didn't even let you do comments.
It does, I mean, it just, once again though, it kind of like it's this.
So
example
scroll up
of
to the
how-
top here.
How life sort of doesn't feel.
And if you click on the UW tools and you go to the Google apps, where do you do? Does it log in? There's your Whisk one. But now if you go back to that home page, did it make that adjustment down there or not?
I bet it didn't,
I bet it didn't too.
but I mean, I'll just reload this. Nope.
Nope, still personal.
I mean, I've got cloud identity embedded in here somewhere. You know what I mean? Like cookies wise, whenever it's pulling to know who you are.
All right. Well, this is actually, I mean, this is great. I'm glad you guys are here because you're giving me good feedback to be able to bring back to the Google Apps team and say, look, people are, it's not just an academic argument here, like it's actually affecting people. So this is an example of a view that if I were signed into this, let me see if I can do that. It was in view only, and now go back to.
I can freak out if you like. You could,
Yeah, please.
So if you slide over the view, see how you're like partially black. Okay. now, there's that up-down arrow in the corner, that little up-down arrow on the right. So that like hides above your cursor right there.
Yeah, that one?
Yeah, that'll like hide that menu
Yep.
window or show it again.
You can do that?
Yeah, and so in that window I thought, well, what can I do in this? Can I access the menu items? And I can begin using Google Apps. And of course I said, well, I created a document and it created one under my personal Gmail account.
In that.
So here I'm logged back and it's me under my personal email account.
Oh, fun.
So it is, I
I
don't
don't
know.
like you.
It's a fun sort of,
Go back and forth between these two, so.
there's all kinds of trapdoors and hidden passages here.
You know, D2L just really doesn't do a wiki, do they? Or do they have a wiki but we don't have it turned on?
Or support a good one.
Or support a wiki? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't either.
No, it certainly doesn't do a very good wiki. And it would be lovely if they had more support. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping that the Google Doc integration, once they turn that on, and I was hoping for this today, but not going to happen today, was going to be, could fix that. If we actually turned on the actual integration thing that lets students upload to the Dropbox, the UW D2L Dropbox, without having to download their Google Doc paper to their laptop or whatever, and then re-upload it into D2L. It would be awesome if they could just immediately choose from their D2L, or from their Google Drive, and hit that link and it all happens in the background.
And then you can't edit it, right?
They can't edit because the way that the integration works is it takes a copy of it. How many of you have used Box with Google Docs or tried to? It's a terrible thing, but the reason that it's terrible is because Box takes a picture of your doc and brings it over.
Oh, well, really?
Yeah, so it's no longer a Google Doc, which means that multiple people can't edit that until they get done and they bring it back over and then they can edit it again. The integration, I hate to say this, is going to do a similar thing. Potentially terrible, right? But maybe not. We'll see. Hopefully it'll make it a lot easier but the point that it addresses is John's, that you don't want them, once they upload it to their UW Dropbox, you don't want them to be able to continue to make changes because they got it uploaded, you know, by deadline, but now they're still working on it. So that they want to be able to stop that from happening. So this is the way that they would do that. But it's also easier to be able to do that than to download and move over and re-upload and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not the best way per se, but we use Box instead of as a Dropbox.
Yeah, instead of the UW Dropbox or Google D2L Dropbox?
Yeah. It's not always the easiest. I can see how it would be a terrible idea for a large course because I end up custom creating all the folders and all the permissions. I think it's not terribly difficult, but I don't know.
Well, and there are a lot of really cool things about the D2L Dropbox because you can do like the voice annotations and make notes and have things previewed automatically.
Yeah, one thing we found out that's really interesting is being able to email directly to a private folder.
Oh yeah?
So use this address, email your file as an attachment to this address. They don't know where it's going. It's going to a private faculty Dropbox folder, especially if there's collaborative grading going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all of the files in one spot as opposed to Box.
In Box and not the D2L Dropbox and not the third-party Dropbox.
Where do you find out how to do that?
You gotta go to the Box, like the UW Box, and then what we've done is.
You can get a shareable link for the.
Am I going to be doing this on
Would you like to?
October 16th?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Brian, you're signed up. We got that down in the notes, right?
Done and done,
This
yes.
is not the
So
best
they
way to
email
do
it
it.
as an attachment to an address and it gets.
Yeah, it's one of the, I'm sorry to be hijacking like this conversation this way, but.
The conversation is the best part of this session, of any session.
So I manage a group folder, and we have some things that are visible to students and some things that are not. With my web space, it used to be that you could manage group permissions. So we could create a course, or we could create like the class of 2017, and then we could apply that to anything, and that would be automatically all visible to whoever's on that list. You don't have those permission scopes in Box.
Right.
I had to spend the summer turning my brain inside out. But then you create it so that like all the faculty have the root access at the top of the group, and then you incrementally add. You have a team folder that you add, students to. You basically have to label your files and your folders in such a way that it's very clear what you're seeing, because they only see those files. They don't see the tree, the files where they just get something. So as a result, the faculty have a folder that's not visible to the students. If you go to a folder that you say like you designate as the designation, go to properties, and there's a property feature that's like allow files to be emailed to this folder. And what was useful for that is because of the permission structure, we had to, instead of organizing things by clusters of courses, we had to organize everything by student identity. So individual Dropboxes have all their course folders. All the course folders have all the assignment folders. So the faculty has to go in and go dig, 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 to get to that one folder, and then back out, and then dig, 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 to get to that. So it drove them nuts on a Saturday afternoon.
Totally.
How about we just have one folder that all the files get thrown into, and then they can go, once they've graded them, re-upload them, drag and drop them into their respective student folders. And it's especially helpful for this course where we have multiple faculty who like to sort of do one pass and then come back, and then another guy does another pass, sort of agree on a grade. You go, all the files that you're grading are in one spot. You can restrict access or share access however you want.
So in Dropbox, when you guys are doing the grading, do you do the grading, or I'm sorry, in Box when you're doing the grading, are you doing the markup on the individual things, or are you doing them as comments, or are you?
It's a good question. I think they're doing it in such a fashion, it supports versioning, so you can, I'm a big proponent of Box Edit, so probably lock the files.
Okay.
I've never heard of a problem where there's like one person simultaneously doing the other.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good question.
Because that's both trying to access a Box document at the same time.
You can lock it. As it goes to open, it says, do you want to lock it?
Right.
They haven't necessarily run into that.
But that'd be a huge frustration and that's why I love the Google document, because I can be in there at the same time that John's in there, and they'll be like, hey John, how's it going? And he's doing his grading on the first half of it, and I'm doing the grading on the second half or whatever.
Right. And yeah, I don't think you can do that in Box, right?
I don't think so either. Because what Box does is it takes the file and it moves it to your thing, and that's locked at this point, and then.
What about the syncing the Box folder to a desktop? I mean, that means you don't have to, because the thing I don't like about Box is like, I have to download the file, change it, re-upload it. Timo, uses a Box folder that syncs, so then I can just open the file and edit it, and as soon as I save it, it's synced again.
Right,
But that doesn't allow for simultaneous editing.
No.
And so Box Sync works sort of sometimes it's got some quirks to it. I had a hard time just even figuring out how to redirect where I want it to sync based on the default location where it plugs into. I'm not certain that's fixed yet, but yeah, sync is different. Sometimes it'll create dual folders. It's not. I don't have it perfectly worked out yet in terms of
It also takes files when you drag and drop, and they physically leave your hard drive and go to the Box one.
Yes, I've seen that too as well.
Or colleagues who don't know how it works will just drag out the things they want to look at and
thereby.
And then they're gone.
They're gone. So we only have like 4 more minutes left. Are there any other questions about Google Apps?
This one has come up quite a lot, is that we have a folder for a lot of things connected to our program, all the different Google Docs, forms and things, and everybody that's full-time in our program has access to it, but nobody sees the folder but me. Normally when you share a file with somebody, it comes up and shared with me, or they don't see it in my drive because it's their stuff, and they don't see it and shared with me if it's a folder. So I've got this neatly organized folder called, UWESL, Google Apps Forms.
Right.
It's got about 10 folders that are neatly organized within it, and within that there's about 20 or 30 documents.
And you're sharing the files individually, but not the folders.
I see, no, the whole folder's been shared with them, and they have access to it, they just cannot see it anywhere.
Can they not find it? Or
They cannot, no, they can't see it. It just doesn't list in my drive, and it doesn't list in shared with me, and those are the only 2 easy ways to find stuff, so that they can, if they type in the search engine the name of one of the documents, if they know it, it'll come up. And if I move something into a folder, it'll open, they have automatically got access to it, but they don't ever see that they have access to it, because there's no way that we can tell to make it show you that this folder has been shared with you.
So there's a thing that you have to do sometimes that is add to my drive, and I just encountered this yesterday, and I can't remember where it shows up. But somebody gave me access to a folder, and the first time I went to the folder, this is going to be super descriptive, so watch carefully. Up here somewhere, there was like the little Google Drive symbol, right, the recycling triangle, and then color, and it said add to my drive. And I clicked on that, and then it shows up in my drive. So, I don't know if that means if you resend the link to everybody and just say,
for this,
hey guys,
it's 10
this
people,
place,
so
or
that one's easy.
maybe send it as a test to one person and see where that shows up, and then
Yes.
because that's how I feel.
Good, that would solve a lot of problems. Okay.
There's also the shared with me.
Well,
Maybe you saying that wasn't
shared with me
showing up.
only shows you the files, it doesn't show you the folders, and neatly organized Google Apps folders, they just don't care.
I don't know if that's totally true though.
But
So I have a folder
They
that's
don't
shared.
use this over here, this menu structure.
they don't get it.
See
But it
that?
doesn't even show up.
It doesn't show up in my drive.
Try that. Figure out how to do that.
Yeah, add to my drive, that would be
Right,
good.
yeah.
Because when my drive came in, suddenly it became more complicated.
And then of course there's
Then they did
the,
the interface.
we're in Google Docs versus we're in Google Drive.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I see a lot of the folders that are shared with me, and it's.
I see a folder I shared with myself, I guess, at some point, or like in 2 different accounts, but.
You see it.
And do you see,
There's
did you have to do the add
there's
to my
a
drive?
folder icon that, I mean, there's.
Under the
So I guess the other question, Dan, is what browser are you using?
So how
I use Chrome, but I don't know what they use.
Yeah, so Chrome.
It just continues to
Okay,
show
there's,
stuff.
I'm just looking for that little thing. to
Yeah,
add
what
to
are you
my
in? Are you
drive.
in my drive or are you in something else?
That was under shared.
This is under my Whisk
Share with
Google
me.
Apps deal,
You
but I
get
also
it
created
there.
a Google account for
Yeah, no,
this.
they don't have that.
So I shared it. Start to sound like
All right, so evaluations. It is now 4:29, and please fill this out. This has been our least standard session that we've ever